Right, it's Friday, 4th March 2022, exactly 167 days into the general election. Good morning from whatever part of the country you are watching us from. Welcome so much. We do trust that you have yourself a wonderful morning. It's chilly, but we're gonna make it hotter, courtesy of whatever is making headlines this morning in the dailies. That is in our first segment of the show. And our second segment of the show, as usual, we have that conversation that we do talk about very vital and necessitated and typical topics. And today's topic, it's quite candid one. We are discussing about women empowerment as a threat to men. Is it true that men feel intimidated in any kind of way with empowered women? And when we are talking about empowering women, what do we mean? And also, we will be internalizing the men's perspective about women empowerment. That is what we will be talking about also as we look forward to next week's International Women's Day. It will be coming away on March 8th. You can be sure to for that as well. But today, our of discussion is men's perspective on women's empowerment and whether if men are kind of intimidated in some kind of way if women get empowered. My guests, one, Clifford Makenda, my second guest as well, is Jerry Massey. They are quite vocal in matters about speaking, and they will be joining me in studio here to shed more light concerning all these issues in relation to women empowerment as a threat to the men. Start talking to us, start sending in your questions, start sending in your comments, and we will be looking at some as we get along with the show. And you can find us live also on Facebook. We are streaming this broadcast and broadcast live, and you can check us on YouTube as well, and you can share your comments on the comment section, and we will be so glad and we would love so much to hear from you. That conversation will be coming your way at exactly 8 a.m. Eastern African time. You're going to wait for that. But right now, though, we want to begin by looking at what is making headlines in the dailies. And I've got quite a number of newspapers to look today. And you know, if it's Friday, definitely there has to be the Dinobian, there has to be the Pulse magazine. There's quite a lot to discuss, and also looking at what is also making headlines in the news, and also many more issues that will be coming your way. My name is Shadrack Ogega, assisted by my sign language interpreter with a bow tie, that is Felix Otieno. Now, we get into it, and I'm beginning from looking at what is making headlines in the Daily Nation. That's where I'm starting from. The Daily Nation this morning. And on the front page of the Daily Nation, I believe my director has put that up for you to see. On the front page of the Daily Nation, ladies and gentlemen, this morning, that is on 4th March, Raila dares Kalonzo to delegates face off. We are told that it's a rumble in the city as Kasarani is the intensive venue of a showdown, according to Azimio insiders, and let the people decide. After a week of political posturing that has slowed down the Azimio train, the decision on coalition flag bearer will be made by delegates in Nairobi on March 12th. The trick, every constituent party will be allocated 20 slots for delegates, including Musyoka's wiper. That means both Raila and Musyoka start on equal footing, and to pick who exactly is going to be the coalition's flag bearer. And that is what is playing out on page 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation. And just to take you back as where this whole issue began, it began when Kalonzo Musyoka came out with a copy during a presser, a copy of the deal at which they had signed in 2017, saying that Raila Odinga will support Kalonzo Musyoka for election come 2022. And there has been declaring call to have Kalonzo Musyoka join Azimio and support Raila Odinga, but he has stamped his feet, saying he is not going to support Raila Odinga until when Raila returns back the favor that he did in 2017. And yesterday, during the campaign tour of Kisii County, we are told that the ODM leader Raila Odinga, who led the brigade for the Azimio la Umoja, took time also to discuss about issues, and also those speakers who are to speak, they also extended and castigated the Kalonzo Musyoka, the Wiper Party leader, in relation to how he feels, they feel rather, that Kalonzo Musyoka is coming in to spoil Azimio, and the others were questioning where has he been all this while Raila Odinga also was in the cold. And one of the speakers was Simba Arati, a legislator from the Kisii community, and this is what he had to say. Let's take a look.
Kuna watu wanasema wanataka endorsement, atawezi ingia Azimio, wengine wamekimbia. Wakati nataka niwaulize, na nyinyi watu wa TV, nataka niwaulize, wakati tulikula kiapo pale Uhuru Park, mimi Simba nilikuwa huko, baba Raila Amolo alikuwa huko, wewe ulikuwa wapi? Nataka tuambie mzuri kwamba wewe kuja polepole, tupange wewe, tutengeneze serikali.
Right, that is Simba Arati asking where Kalonzo Musyoka was during the swearing in of the people's president in 2017, something at which quite had a national debate. And also another individual who spoke yesterday is the former Gathanga Member of Parliament, Peter Kenneth, who also questioned how Kalonzo Musyoka is coming in with a raft of instructions and ultimatums, saying that that is not called for, even though he's much welcome inside Azimio. This is what he had to say. Let's listen.
Yes, sana. Ya kwanza, baba alianzisha chama ya Azimio ili sisi wote tuenda. Sasa tumefungua, wale wote wanataka kuja, wakuje polepole, tuwe wote wapi, na wasituletee masharti. Sawa. Ya pili, mimi nawaeleza hivi, na nataka tuelewane. Ya pili, baba na Rais Uhuru wamezoea kutusiwa, sivyo? Hata wengine wameenda Amerika na propaganda na wako ndani ya serikali. Hiyo ndio mimi naita udaku. Na chama yao inaitwa nini? Ya mwisho. Nyinyi watu wa Nyamira mulipigia baba kura, sivyo? Na wengine wakapigia Uhuru kura, sivyo? Sasa hizo ndume mbili wameungana. Na mimi nataka kuambia hivi, mkienda Mombasa wako ndani ya Azimio. Si mumeona Joho? Mkienda mashariki, mumeona Ngilu, mumeona Kibwana, wako ndani ya
Azimio.
Mkikuja Central, tukiongozwa na Uhuru, tuko ndani ya. Ukienda Nairobi iko ndani ya. Nyanza iko ndani ya. Raundi hii tarehe 9 rais atakuwa Raila Amolo Odinga na atashinda more than 51%. Tunataka kushinda kwa round 1. Tuko sawa? Kwa hivyo mimi nataka kuwasihi watu wa Nyamira, nataka kuwasihi, tunataka baba ashinde round 1. Mnataka baba ashinde round 1? Mkubali mtokee nyinyi wote, nionyesheni mtatokea nyinyi wote. Asanteni, Mungu awabariki.
Haya, Nyamira hoye.
Right, that is a former Gathanga Member of Parliament, Peter Kenneth, speaking in Nyamira County during the campaign tour of Azimio la Umoja, telling of Kalonzo Musyoka not to come inside and in Azimio la Umoja with instruction and ultimatums. Good. And also out from that as well, the Kenya Kwanza Brigade that was in yesterday was in campaigning in Trans Nzoia County, also had to take time and come at the rescue of Kalonzo Musyoka, telling of those who have castigated him over his remarks in relation to the MOU of the 2017, and that they were speaking in Trans Nzoia, saying that those who abuse and continue to tell of Kalonzo Musyoka should stop it and leave alone with Kalonzo Musyoka. That, or rather, those were words of the Bungoma senator and one of the principals within the Kenya Kwanza, that is Moses Wetangula. Let's listen in.
Jambo langu la mwisho, niliona kwa TV juzi kijana moja anaitwa Makau Mutua akitukana Kalonzo Musyoka. Kalonzo Musyoka alikuwa makamu wa rais wa nchi hii. Kalonzo Musyoka ni kiongozi anaheshimika, na kwangu binafsi kama Weta, Kalonzo Musyoka ni rafiki yangu ya karibu sana. I want to tell you, Makau Mutua, you are just but an upstart professor with no track record. We want to tell you, respect Kalonzo, because Kalonzo has done for this country what you will never do in more than 10 generations. We want to warn you, we concentrate kazi yako ya kukambenia Azimio, waachana na Kalonzo. Na ndugu yetu Kalonzo, we want to ask you, usiache wakufanyie mzaha, kuja jiunga na sisi ili tutembee pamoja, tuunde hii serikali mara moja. Sawa sawa. Sasa wacha nimpatie Mheshimiwa Profesa Kithure Kindiki.
Right, those are quite some bit of sentiments from our politics, and that is what was playing out yesterday during the campaign tour of Kenya Kwanza Brigade, despite the fact that Deputy President William Ruto is not around and is not in the country. But those are some of the few matters that are enlisted on the front page of the Daily Nation this morning. You can grab your copy and read more of whatever is happening. And we had to source those clips in relation to Raila Odinga daring Kalonzo Musyoka to a delegate's face-off at Kasarani, and that is where all matters and all issues will have to be discussed, and that is an article on page 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation. Now, staying still on the Daily Nation, below there, if my director can put that up for you to see and zoom in on the below page 1 of the Daily Nation, US assures Ruto on polls as purge of allied officials shift to counties. And that is what is playing out on the front page of the Daily Nation this morning, where we are told that after kicking out from the leadership of Parliament and government, all those associated with DP Kenyatta's Jubilee Party has now trained its gun on speakers and majority whips in county assemblies for a fresh round of expulsion or denial of hefty packs, including security staff in cars, and that is what is playing out on page 12 and 13. But also, as this happens in the country with the purging, the ongoing purging, moving all the way to the counties, the Deputy President William Ruto has continued with his tour over the United States, and yesterday he was also in a meeting addressing various issues, including also talking about his candidacy come 2022 and how he is confident of taking up the lead, and despite the fact that he also had to mention about the drinking claims that spurred a lot of debate yesterday, and there has been a lot of reaction in relation to that. But I want to play for you this clip where Deputy President William Ruto was being interviewed in relation to how he is one of the leading candidates and how he feels his position as Deputy President William Ruto has earned him mileage and how he's confident of winning the election. Let's listen in.
Great, and her members of her staff are here, so I'm sure we're going to have fruitful conversations after this main event. I wanted to come back on the point about elections, and I think it's kind of an issue that we're all dancing around. You are one of the leading contenders in the upcoming presidential
default. It is because I have a track record that the people of Kenya know, they feel, and they associate with. And secondly, my team and I have a credible plan that is resonating with the people of Kenya. When you are in that pivotal position, you do not miss people who will say things about you. And that's the nature of politics, right? So we are very clear, and I am acutely focused on making sure that the plan we have, and it's a plan around taking Kenya from where we are today to the next level. And our plan, we've dubbed it.
Right, that is Deputy President William Ruto in the United States, speaking about very interesting matters on page 12 and 13 of the Standard. You can check that out as well and read more of whatever is enlisted there to get updated. And that is also another interesting matter on page 7 of the Standard. But I want to go now to look into what is making headline in the Standard before we proceed with the other newspapers. And as usual also, as we get along with looking at what is making headlines in the newspaper, as well as giving you out some of the top news, we would like to hear your thoughts concerning some of these issues as well, concerning some of these matters. You can share them and we will sample your views as we get along. Let's get to hear what you have to say concerning the headlines. What do you have to say concerning the articles? Do you understand where we are headed to in relation to the election? You can do so, and we will look at your comments. Now, on the front page of the Standard, we are on the Standard, and looking at the front page of the Standard, it talks about nominations, eyes on Raila and Ruto. And of course, this is in relation to the timelines of the IEBC on how the election should be done. And the nominations are on the offing. The fact that we are in March, the timeline says that now parties are supposed to be prepared to do the nominations. And according to whatever is enlisted here, it says, law says that aspirants who lose in primaries have 10 days to register with IEBC and vie as independents. And now pressure mounts on top presidential contestants to ensure free and fair primaries and retain losers as well. And according to the election timelines enlisted on page 6, I want to read for you that for you to understand how things are ongoing. And at exactly April 9th, 2022, there's supposed to be a submission of names of candidates for every party. And this should be done after, once the party has declared interest in any other position. And also we have gazettements of candidates and dates of party primaries that should be done on April 16th. And we also have party conducts party primaries between April 22nd and also submission of independent candidate symbols, letter of intent to vie and clearance for registrar of political parties. That should be done at the close of business on May 2nd. And on May 6th, there has to be a dispute resolution of political parties, if any, and also independent candidates shall not be members of any other party. Good. And that is on May 9th, 2022. And now at exactly the same date, that is May 9th, 2022, the IEBC is said to be approving party symbols and independent candidate symbols and gazettement of the names and symbols for the independent candidates. And now, between May 16th and May 22, then there has to be the issue concerning the nominations and how they can forward the names and collection of nomination papers in accordance of the Code of Conduct. And also we have the submission or verification of list of presidential candidates and supporters. That is what is happening on the page 6 of the Standard in relation to the topmost story that talks about nominations. Now, on page 7, there is quite an interesting matter pertaining to Ruto's trip in the United States, and 100 billion stolen by graft cartels yearly, says Ruto. We're told that in a scorching attack to the government, the DP accuses Uhuru's administration to abating corruption, and Ruto also further claimed that the Jubilee administration veered off the course in the second term due to the fact that it was enjoyed by Raila Odinga, who was from the opposition. And the Deputy President William Ruto yesterday claimed that a whopping 100 billion is budgeted for corruption cartels in Kenya every financial year. And this is not working out so well with the common mwananchi, hurting the economy of the country. And he was speaking during his tour of the United States. And earlier on, I had played for you that clip where he was being interviewed yesterday. But the claims by Ruto has not seemed to be taken well by some of the leaders, especially those from the ODM side here. And yesterday also during the tour of the Kisii County, there are a number of leaders who spoke, including also Kieni, Member of Parliament Kanini Kega, who had to speak in relation to this and telling of the Deputy President William Ruto that it's quite shameful for him to go and speak about the president in the United States, despite the fact that he is part and parcel of that government. Let's listen in.
Sana na wakisi wengine hapa hatujawahi patia baba kura, lakini tarehe 9 mwezi wa 8 tutapanga foleni namna hii tumchague Raila Amolo Odinga wa jamhuri yetu ya Kenya. Ya pili tumeona hata Uhuru mwenyewe atapiga foleni ya chague Raila Amolo Odinga. Ya pili tunataka kukuambia wewe William Ruto, ninyi mmesema saa hii amepanga safari akitumia fedha za umma over 200 million shillings ametumia, akaenda Amerika kule kuona assistant ministers, kuanza kulia kule ate uchaguzi inaibiwa. Uchaguzi hakuna mtu akona haja ya kuiba, hakuna mara hii kwa sababu sisi wote tuko nyuma ya baba. Baba atashinda na over 70-80%, na nataka nimunionyeshe kwa mkono kwamba tutachagua baba. Sisi wote kwa mlima hapa wa Kisii tutachagua baba. Asanteni sana na Mungu awabariki.
Anayefuata ni Masai kutoka Narok. Masai.
Right, very interesting there. That is Kanini Kega, the Member of Parliament for Kieni. But coming back, also yesterday, the ODM party leaders, led by the ODM chairperson John Mbadi, have condemned Deputy President William Ruto's remarks made to Kenyans in the United States of allegation of vote rigging claims. And this is a story that Brenda Okello filed yesterday in relation to the ODM party chair John Mbadi, calling off the remarks by Ruto as false accusation. And to some extent, he feels that he has sensed defeat. Let's listen in.
The ODM party led by John Mbadi has condemned the statement made by Deputy President William Ruto after the Deputy President claimed that the results of the presidential election could be disrupted come August general elections.
What he said yesterday is curious, and I want to repeat it. It's curious. I think Ruto is trying to set stage to dispute the outcome of presidential election. Ruto told us not long ago that his votes cannot be stolen. He told us not long ago that even if Raila makes his brother Oburu Odinga the chair of IBC, that he would still go ahead and win. But he's now crying and insisting that election is going to be stolen, and he's saying it in the US. Now, the question I want to ask is, what is Ruto telling us? Is he telling us that he has been participating in rigged elections previously?
Mbadi also said that President Uhuru Kenyatta's decision to support ODM leader Raila Odinga should be respected, as the president has the right to choose the leader he wants as any other Kenyan citizen.
It is his democratic right. Uhuru is a Kenyan, he's a voter. He's still going to live in this country. If he has chosen to support Raila Odinga, that should not be equated to Raila Odinga being supported by government. Uhuru has said it categorically clear that he is supporting Raila Odinga as an individual, and for reasons that he has enumerated and explained to Kenyans. And we are thankful and grateful for that support, because he is also a voter and is a leader in this country. And so we don't take it for granted. But Raila Odinga is selling his agenda and manifesto to the people of Kenya.
He also said that the ODM party is gaining popularity, adding that the deputy president has started complaining after sensing defeat.
Those areas that were initially considered not to be supporting ODM and Raila Odinga, you can see there is renewed vigor, there is excitement. In fact, we now have a problem of dealing with those who are joining us, who are competing for the same positions. Like we have issues in Northeastern. Northeastern, the whole region is now turning, has actually turned Azimio, and more particularly ODM. We are now dealing with how do we manage the competing interests in those areas. That we warned Ruto a long time ago, that presidency, running for presidency is a marathon. It is not 100 meters. You cannot run a marathon like you are running one lap race. And that is what he has been doing. Right now, he is so fatigued, he is tired, we have overtaken him, and now he has resorted into unnecessary complaints.
Reporting for Boss TV, my name is Okelo Brenda.
Democracy of our nation, and whether we truly have the opportunity to make free choice.
Right, of course, that is in relation to the statements by Deputy President William Ruto, who is still in the United States on a 12-day tour. And we will be trailing also some of the more meetings he will be held in there and give you all the details as they come through. But that last story was fired by Brenda Okelo, a very own reporter. Good. Now, shifting gears, let's look at what is making headline in the Star newspaper. On the front page of the Star newspaper, if my director can put that up for you to see what is happening on the front page of the Star newspaper. UDA ODM brace for mass mutiny over party tickets. And that is what is enlisted as the new law gives the strangled aspirants in primaries option to run as independents. Nomination losers cannot join any party. Nomination losers cannot join any party. And that is according to the new bill that was signed just recently by President Uhuru Kenyatta that will go hand in hand also with bring in new procedures that should be taken for those aspirants who are seeking to be vying for the independent ticket. So if you want to vie for any sort of seat on an independent ticket, be sure that you will not get into any other political party. And those who will be losing on the nominations will have to just let it go. That is what is on page 4 and 5 of the Star newspaper. Now, below as well there, I'll be telling you what is happening on the below page 1 of the page 1 of the Star. But even as the UDA party and the ODM party seem to be cracking up their heads to try and make sure that they do have a free and fair nomination, there is something else that is happening within the Jubilee party. And we are told that the Jubilee party has announced that it will sponsor candidates in all elective seats come August 9th as they embark on the process of forming policies 6 months to the general election. And this comes days after the National Delegates Council endorsed President Uhuru Kenyatta for a new 5-term to be their party leader. Clifford Mark comes in as well with this story about the rejuvenation of the Jubilee party.
During a meeting with the youth and aspirants in Naivasha, the party top leader exuded confidence that it would regain its lost glory in a matter of weeks. The party coordinator in Nakuru County, Njenga Muigai, said that they would continue to engage all stakeholders ahead of the elections. The former Molo MP praised the handshake between President and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, noting that it had brought peace and development in the country.
Vile alivyofanya kwenda kusalimia Raila Odinga na ni mpinzani wake mkuu na pia si wa kabila lake na pia ni wa region nyingine, akaenda akamsalimia, akasahau yale wamefanyana, akaona nataka Kenya iwe pamoja. Jambo hilo limetufanya tuone ya kwamba huyu rais anayosema anasema kwa sababu anapenda Kenya.
The meeting organizer Charles Buru said that the party would financially sponsor all those nominated during their nominations. He challenged Naivasha residents to be keen on whom they nominate during the primaries, which would be carried out in 2 months.
Tunaanza kujiandikisha, kila mtu hapa anaenda kuandikisha kila member, and in the next 1 week tunataka kuhakikisha Naivasha constituency tumeregister at least 150,000 voters kwa chama cha Jubilee.
Former CAS for Trade Lawrence Karanja, who is vying for the senatorial seat in Nakuru, termed the industrial park in Mahimayu as a game changer for Naivasha residents. He said that the state had set aside 2 billion Kenya shillings to develop the special economic zone, adding that tens of companies had shown interest in the park. Dr. Stanley Karanja, who is vying for the gubernatorial seat, accused some leaders of being moles in Jubilee.
Ile kitu mnajua iko hapa dry ports na the industrial park. Ile maneno inakuja hapo, watu wa Naivasha mtaishi kufurahia matunda na kazi ya Uhuru Kenyatta.
We are working so hard to make sure that the Jubilee Party comes back. It has been there, it has been working, but now this is the political time. Reviving Jubilee Party are very high. Only that the only problem are the current leaders, where the politics of deceit started in 2017. That you can see the people who are put, who took those positions were all moles in Jubilee. They were not with His Excellency the President, the party leader of Jubilee then.
Cliff Mark, Boss TV.
Right, that is the Jubilee Party Revisionation, a story by Clifford Mark, very interesting, and you can find all the details about parties and how they're seeking to play out their nominations on page 4 and 5 over the Star. Now, on matters about politics, as usual, we have a 16-page political pullout within the Star newspaper, and that is what is playing out also on page 12 and 13 of the Star as well. There's quite a lot in talking about the small parties factor and how they are very, very vital when it comes to the winning of the presidential vote. And there's a picture up there of President Uhuru Kenyatta together with Raila Odinga during the Azimio la Umoja function in Kasarani last week. And that is what is interesting. Now, below page 1 of the Star, we see a picture of President Uhuru Kenyatta accompanied by President, let me find his name correctly here. I think I cannot see this, but yesterday they were at the headquarters of the United Nations Environmental Program, that is UNEP, and at the Nairobi complex in Gigiri, and President Uhuru Kenyatta pledges more support for the UN work is what is enlisted. And very interesting, out from that activity that was happening yesterday is that the United Nations staff working in Kenya will be exempted from paying taxes beside their benefits as part of Kenya's commitment in supporting the agency. And this agency here in question is the United Nations Environmental Program. And the President Uhuru Kenyatta, who was accompanied by fellow heads of state and government from those like the likes of the CAR Prime Minister, Mr. Felix. We also have Botswana President Masisi and Nigeria's President Mohamed Buhari during a 2-day event to commemorate the 5th anniversary of the United Nations Environmental Program. And he spoke, that is President Uhuru Kenyatta, if I may quote his words here. He says that we will provide land for development and humanitarian logistic hub in Naivasha, Nairobi, and Mombasa. And we have also provided land for the creation of a diplomatic enclave adjacent to the UN office at the UN Nairobi complex. And these are within the efforts of more support for UN work. So that is what is on page 11 of the Star this morning. You can grab your copy, read more, whatever is enlisted to get updated as well. Now, on page 6 of the Star, very interesting one. Don't reject cash from politician, NCCK member churches told. We're told that the National Council of Churches in Kenya have advised the clergy against rejecting money from politicians and political aspirants, and they're saying that if anyone wishes to support what they're doing as a church, then they can do so, but also they should do so with much caution and ensuring that they can as well as refrain politicians from playing and addressing congregants at pulpits on matters about politics. That is what is playing out on page 6. And remember, yesterday we are having that kind of a conversation in relation to the church and politics, and whether if it's high time for the churches to relook about getting money from politicians. You can go to our YouTube page and you can find that clip for yesterday's conversation, and you can understand what is happening. Now, before I even get into the Taifa Leo, I want to play for you another story that we covered yesterday in relation to the ongoing construction of the Makupa Causeway Bridge, which is 61% complete. And according to the lead engineer over that said project, who spoke to our reporter Jerry Massey, is that the traffic jam congestion along Makupa Kibarani route will be a thing of the past by June this year. Let's listen in on how things happened yesterday during that inspection tour. Take a look.
Makupa Bridge, which is one of the President Kenyatta's project and which was initially supposed to be completed by January this year, is now 61% done and is now looking forward to being completed by June 14th.
And so far we are at about 61%. The progress is okay, and the completion date is in another maybe by around 14th June or early June. We are going to be completing this project. So this is a committee called the DICC, and we are coming to assess the progress.
During the inspection, it was mentioned that since the construction is already behind the initial schedule, the contractors are now working towards recovering the lost time, hence ensuring that it will be done by the set time.
Progress is good, and we are therefore going to be coming more and more frequently to check on the progress of this. But we are satisfied that the implementation is good. As you have seen yourselves, the project is already done to that level, that percentage of 60%. And therefore, we are confident that on the completion of this project, the objectives will be attained. It has created quite a number of jobs for the people of this area. Number two, the restoration of the ecosystem for Mombasa, and it's an iconic project.
Engineer in charge has mentioned that financial hiccup was one of the major challenges facing the project, but since it has now been solved, the project will go as planned.
At the start of the project, we had a few hitches about the project financing, which was sorted by the government. But that had introduced a bit of a delay of some days, and contractually the contractor was awarded the number of days to cover for that period of time that was lost, and that's why we are confident that the contractor, working day and night, they'll be able to deliver the project in time as you have been informed.
Jerry Massey, Boss TV, Mombasa.
Right, that is very interesting on the ongoing Makupa Causeway Bridge. You can find that on page 1 of the Taifa Leo as well. And I want to go straight now to the page 1 of the Taifa Leo. Na lazima tubadili lugha endapo tunaangazia aliyomo kwenye gazeti hili la Taifa Leo, mpenzi mtazamaji. Na kwenye ukurasa wa mbele hapa wa Taifa Leo ni kwamba uteuzi pa kutegemea wazee. Unaambia kwamba chama cha Pamoja African Alliance PA kinapanga kutumia mashauriano baina ya wanasiasa ili kuamua watakaopewa tikiti ya chama hicho kuwania viti mbalimbali katika uchaguzi ujao. Gavana Amason Kingi, ambaye ni mmoja tu wa wale waanzishi wa chama hicho, amewatwika jukumu wazee kuendeleza mazungumzo kati ya wanasiasa wanaopigania kiti kimoja ili kuwe na maelewano. Na ni katika ukurasa wa 4 ambapo pia chama hicho kimeendeleza kampeni zake katika eneo la Kilifi kama mojawapo ya vyama vinavyolenga kutoa viti kadhaa kutoka eneo hilo. Na pia pale juu tunaambiwa kwamba Kwale yaelekea kujenga madarasa. Huyu ni Waziri George Magoha, waziri wa elimu, Profesa George Magoha ametaka wakandarasi wengine wafutwe kwa kukosa kumaliza ujenzi wa madarasa hayo, akisema kwamba kaunti ya Kwale ni miongoni mwa kaunti zilizo baki nyuma na kulegea katika kujenga madarasa yatakayotumika kwenye mfumo wa mtaala mpya ifikiapo mwaka 2023. Taarifa hiyo imo katika ukurasa wa 4 wa Taifa Leo kuhusiana na masuala ya kielimu. Na tukisonga mbele ni kwamba msururu wa ahadi hewa za naibu rais ni taarifa iliyoko katika ukurasa wa 2, ambapo kampeni za Ikulu za naibu rais William Ruto zimetawaliwa na ahadi 4 kuu za kuinua uchumi, ambazo kulingana na baadhi ya wadadisi wa masuala haya wanasema kwamba nyingi za ahadi hizo ni hewa, na ndiyo taarifa katika ukurasa wa 2. Unaweza kujitwalia nakala pia ukajisomea ukaelewa kiundani zaidi. Na kwenye habari za kaunti za hapa Pwani, tunaanzia kule Mombasa. Ni kwamba kaunti yaomba iongeze fedha. Hii ni serikali ya kaunti ya Mombasa imeomba kutengewa fedha zaidi kutoka kwa hazina ya kitaifa, na kulingana na naibu gavana Daktari William Kingi, amedai kuwa kaunti hiyo ina majukumu mengi kwa vile Mombasa ni mji mkubwa unaotegemewa pia ni kaunti nyingi, unaotegemewa na kaunti nyingi jirani. Kwa hivyo wanasisitiza kwamba kaunti ya Mombasa iweze pia kuongezewa mgao. Bila shaka kule Lamu, jaji yaamua shamba msituni si la mtu binafsi. Huyu ni mwanaume amepoteza kesi ambapo walitaka mahakama iagize yeye ndiye mmiliki halali wa kipande cha ardhi kilicho ndani ya msitu, na unaambia kwamba jaji Maureen Odenyi ameweza kutoa uamuzi na kusema kwamba shamba la msituni halipaswi kuwa shamba la mtu binafsi. Taarifa hiyo imo katika ukurasa wa 4 wa Taifa Leo. Alafu mwisho kabisa pale Kwale ni kwamba Kenya Power yapata ufadhili kuvuta stima Chale. Hii ni shirika la usambazaji wa umeme katika eneo la Kwale. Unaambiwa kwamba limetangaza ushirikiano wa kampuni za kibinafsi ili kuvuta stima katika kisiwa cha Chale, kaunti ya Kwale, na kisiwa hicho ambacho kimekuwa kikitegemea jenereta kinatarajiwa kupokea umeme kupitia kwa nyaya hizo ambazo zitakazopitishwa chini ya maji kutoka Diani. Bila shaka mpenzi mtazamaji, ni teknolojia ya kisasa hiyo kuona nyaya za stima kupitishwa chini ya maji kupitia Diani hadi kwenye kisiwa cha Chale, na ni mojawapo ya kisiwa kizuri sana. Haya ni kwa mujibu wa mwelekezi wangu aliyewahi kutembelea kisiwa hicho, na ni jambo la heri kuona kwamba alipafika kule. Na kufikia hapo, ikiwa zimesalia dakika 10 iweze kutimu saa 2 majira Afrika Mashariki, mpenzi mtazamaji, nataka niweze kusitisha uchambuzi wa magazeti sawia na kukujuza baadhi ya zile taarifa kuu zilizogonga vichwa vya habari, na nitakapokuwa narejea itakuwa naingia kwenye mazungumzo yetu siku ya leo, na ni mazungumzo mojawapo ambayo yamekuwa yakisheheni haswa wiki hii. Nafikiri kama huja kumbana na kilichokuwa kinazungumziwa mtandaoni kupitia kauli ya kwamba mimi sio mwanamke ama sisi sio wanawake, ni kauli mojawapo ambao kina dada wanasema kwamba inatumika kimakosa ili kuwadunisha. Na je, endapo basi wanaume wanahisi kudunishwa kutokana na msukumo wa kutaka kuboresha maisha ya mtoto wa kike ama kuboresha maisha ya wanawake, je, ni lini haswa tunapaswa kulifanya ili kuleta usawa huo? Na ni kwa nini haswa vijana wa jinsia ya kiume wanahisi kwamba endapo wanawake wataimarishwa zaidi watakuwa kama tishio? Ili tishio ni gani na kwa nini haswa wanaogopa? Ndiyo baadhi ya maswali ambayo nitakuwa nauliza wageni wangu siku ya leo, ambaye si wengine bali ni Bwana Clifford Mark pamoja na mwenzake Njeri Masi. Kwa hivyo mazungumzo haya yatakukujia muda usiokuwa mrefu, lakini kwa sasa nachukua mapumziko mafupi. Usiende mbali.